Joining me now, she is the president of Red Renaissance PAC and a former Maryland congressional candidate, Kim Klacik, and PragerU contributor and author, Will Witt. Welcome to you both. It's so great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, listen, I mean, it's amazing how much has gone on so far this year. You look back on the year and you think, did this happen in 2022 or 2021 or 2020? It's all kind of blended together. And so it's obviously impossible to get to everything. But, you know, here we all are almost halfway through the year. And I want to get your responses to some of the news that has really impacted Americans so far. And, you know, we have to start with a headline that every American is really feeling right now, and that is the price of gas. I mean, even the liberal press can't cover this mess up for Biden any longer. The average price now over $5 a gallon. If you live in California, premium gas is now running at $9.79 a gallon. I mean, some high-end cars do need premium gas. Kim, if gas prices stay this high, how do you think this is going to impact the way people live their lives? I mean, people are already thinking about quitting their jobs over this.
No, absolutely. I mean, thank goodness that we had the pandemic so people can see whether or not they can work remotely. But this is a disaster. This is a crisis. And I have to remind people, when we were talking about the gas prices rising, the first thing the Biden administration started doing was blaming Putin, right? The war on Ukraine. And then they send out Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, to tell everybody to go and buy electric vehicles, as if we have money to do that as well. It is very sad to see the gas prices continue to soar. I know they're going to go up even more as the year goes on. But you know what? This is really affecting every single family. This is a kitchen table topic. And I know when it comes down to Election Day in November, there's going to be a lot of people, independents, moderate Democrats, that are going to think twice about voting for Democrats in November.
You know, Will, you live in California. I mean, here we are complaining about the prices that we're seeing. I'm sure you'd love to see $5.50 a gallon. What's the reaction that you're hearing from people?
Yeah, I'm at $7.50 a gallon right now. So $5.50, that sounds like a dream to me. I'd love $5.50 right now. But what I'm hearing from most people in Los Angeles is that people are sick and tired of it. But I'm worried that most Californians don't actually understand that it's the Democrats who are doing this. And also that it's a lot of Republicans who have allowed Democrats to do this. I mean, I've always said, and you hear the old adage that conservatives are just liberals driving the speed limit. And that's really what we have in the state of California, is that conservatives don't know how to win. And so when the left is pushing these crazy policies and making it worse for every single Californian, every single one, they have no response to it, and they don't know how to win, and they don't know how to fight back. So I'm hoping that Republicans can actually grow a backbone for the 2022 election and figure out how to take this back, because right now everyone is struggling except for the oligarchy that we're living under.
Well, I'm hoping there's a light at the end of the tunnel. When we saw what happened in San Francisco with Chesa Boudin being recalled, hopefully that's a sign of better things to come for you guys out there. Let's take it now back to March of this year, so to a moment we all remember so well. During the confirmation hearings for Biden's first black female Supreme Court pick, Ketanji Brown Jackson, if there's one moment that I don't think any one of us could forget, it's the moment she couldn't define what a woman is. Kim, I got to get your reaction when you heard that she couldn't answer that question.
I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, here's a black woman like myself. We know what women had to go through to fight for our rights in this country, especially even the right to vote. The fact that she was even a nominee, right? Think about that. As a woman, that should have been a moment that she could embrace. But yet she was kowtowing to the liberal left, the extreme leftists that want to toss up the word woman as if there has any other meaning. You know, it was a sad day in America, and I thought it was very interesting because immediately we see now we're in the Pride Month in June, and everyone actually knows what a woman is, right? We know what people's pronouns are, but we only talk about it when it's convenient for the liberal left. And so I think Ketanji Brown Jackson, I mean, going forward, I hope she apologizes for that moment, because like I said, that was a sad moment in this country for every woman. Many of us fight very hard. I know myself, I work very hard. I'm also a mother at the same time. And you know what? We should be proud to be women in this country.
You know, Will, I'm not a biologist. As far as I know, I don't think you are, but I think we could probably both define what a woman is. Why do you think it's so tough for the left to use the word woman, to use the word female, to use the word mother? Why are they now erasing women?
Well, I think it comes down to the fact that we might all live on the same soil, but we don't abide by the same rules as Americans anymore. These people on the left, these radicals who are taking over our country, who have already taken over our institutions, social media, Hollywood, the universities, who are seeping into literally everything that we know, are not Americans in the sense that they represent American values, Christian values, anything that actually brings us together. And so I'm actually a fan when I see people like this who can't even define what a woman is, something so easy, or the people who want to sexualize our children, or teach the gender theory that is destroying children's lives. I am for a national divorce from these people because I see these answers in the way they treat people, and I don't want to be anywhere near these people. I can't see a way that Americans can come back with some of these people, and that's a tough thing to say. I've always been someone who's wanted to find common ground, but I think we're getting to a place where it's almost past that.
Well, I think a lot of countries looking at America right now saying, what the heck is going on over there? I mean, their priorities are so out of line. And, I think that brings me to one of the biggest stories of the year, and that was Putin's unprovoked invasion into Ukraine. Here's a headline from January about Biden vowing a strong response to Russia if they would, in fact, invade. What do you think, Will? Did Biden respond strong enough to Putin?
Biden didn't respond whatsoever to Putin. I mean, he's basically been doing whatever he wants, kowtowing to him with anything that really is any sign of strength. He doesn't show strength. But none of the American people show strength when it comes to our leaders in office because they want to give $50 billion to Ukraine, which isn't the answer to any of this at all. I mean, what they are fine with doing is sacrificing the American people, American sovereignty overseas to NATO and all this, and make it so that America looks weak on the global stage, so that they can continue to line their pockets and continue to pay their buddies who got them into office in the first place, the people, the lobbying organizations who gave them donations in the first place. And so that's what all this is about. With Biden, with Mitch McConnell, with all these people, it's all political theater. This entire war has been political theater, and the American people are sick of it. They're sick of seeing the inflation. They're sick of seeing the gas prices rising. They're sick of hearing about Ukraine and all of the nonsense with Putin. They don't think he's the next Hitler, and no one has handled it well. It's a really sad sight to see.
Kim, I want to get your reaction to that because, personally, I don't think we would be in this mess if Trump were still in office. I think, obviously they see a weak leader in President Biden. What are your thoughts?
No, I think you're 100% correct on that, Jen. Look, my last name is Klacik. I'm married a Ukrainian. My daughter's half Ukrainian. I mean, look, we have a lot that we give into when it comes to the country of Ukraine as a family. But just so people understand, a lot of this has to do with politics. As Will says, a lot of this is political theater. And unfortunately, we have a leader in office right now, Joe Biden, where foreign leaders don't take him seriously. Think about it. Even when this war began, you had leaders that didn't even bother to answer the phone when Joe Biden called. And that is how they're treating this country right now. We're not number one on the national stage. And it's hard to believe that from President Trump to Joe Biden, we're now in this position where we have people looking down on our country and not believing that we're as strong as we should be.
And then you look at the White House right now and all the staff trying to spin Biden's responses, these off-the-cuff responses that, God forbid, could lead us into a nuclear war if he says the wrong thing. And, obviously, it's going to be a while before we can get rid of Biden. But there is somebody that we got to say goodbye to earlier this year. Jen Psaki left her position as White House press secretary. She joined the propaganda media, which is no shocker to anybody, I think. And then, of course, Biden went to replace her with Karine Jean-Pierre. She made history as the first openly LGBTQ person and first woman of color to serve as White House press secretary. And of course, she was under a lot of scrutiny for being in a long-time relationship with a CNN correspondent. So, Will, what do you think? How's Karine doing?
There's obviously no conflict of interest there. These people who come, they're definitely all just very, very good, and there's no sort of bias. They just want to help this country, right? I always think back to the State of the Union with these type of political people when Trump was saying, God bless America, and these leftists come on and they're saying America, America too. And it's like, you can't claim that you love America when you want to radically transform it, when you want to change everything about it. You can't say that you love something if you want to change everything about it. And that's what people like her are doing. That's what Joe Biden wants to do, this administration. They want to radically transform America with their Build Back Better and their Green New Deals. And they end up showcasing to the American people who can see it on full display when they see her at her press conferences, when they see Joe Biden speak, that these people hate this country and the values that it was founded on.
Yeah, no question. And I got to give it to Karine. I got to give it to Jen. They have a full-time job spinning Biden's lies, spinning his gaffes around. It's not easy. I'm surprised Jen actually lasted that long in the role. Kim, what are your thoughts with this new press secretary and what we're seeing?
Well, I don't think she's as good as, spinning and circling back as Press Secretary Jen Psaki was. Obviously, we'll give her some time to learn the ropes. But she couldn't answer any basic questions when it came to the economy. And so I thought that was very interesting because, she does talk about the fact that she believes that Joe Biden and this administration is doing a great job, but she can never explain that. Because the average American like myself and you as well, we're feeling this when we go to buy groceries, when we go to fill up our gas tank. I mean, you look at the housing market. We are seeing numbers that we haven't seen since 1981, before I was even born. And so she should be able to go out there and answer these basic questions, but she's having a hard time. So like you said, she's got a tough job, but hopefully she'll get better as time goes by. Because like you said, we're going to see this administration for quite some time, unfortunately, and we don't have a say.
Yeah, I think they really need to give the American people credit. They're a lot smarter than they think they are. But before we go, guys, Biden's popularity obviously was at the center of a lot of conversation this year. He's losing support right now among minorities, especially black voters. And the biggest drop in support, however, has been among young people. He hasn't delivered on his promise yet of free college. Will, what are your thoughts? Why do you think he's losing support among these groups of voters that he really campaigned on being close to?
Well, I think that it's not just Biden, but I think it's a Western problem in general. I mean, we saw in the French elections that actually Macron got back elected into the French presidency because of older people, because of the older generation. And when you looked at the polls for young people, you found that a lot of young people in France actually were for Le Pen, were for the conservatives in France. And so we're seeing that in America today, too, where the polling comes out and it shows that Joe Biden is actually very, very unpopular among young people as well. And I think it's because when young people are coming up in this country and trying to build something for themselves, they feel like they have no meaning in their lives. And then when they already have this nihilism and no sense of meaning or purpose, and then everything gets expensive on top of that, and they all become Uber drivers and the girls go and work for OnlyFans. I mean, it feels like things are worse than ever for young people in this country. I live in LA, where a lot of people go and their dreams die. And I can tell you that this is how young people feel, and they are fed up with this presidency and what is happening right now in this country.
Who would have thought that all the ties to the social media influencers aren't quite working out for them? Kim, final thoughts here. I'm curious about the black vote. I'm surprised they didn't ditch him when he said, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me," among so many other gaffes and inappropriate comments he made toward minorities. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, and predominantly black communities, a lot of us believed, and not myself, obviously, but a lot of black people did believe that these were just gaffes and that he had the best interest in mind for the black community. Now, there were a lot of questions, even from rappers like Ice Cube. They were asking, what is it you're going to do when it comes to helping the black community? VP Kamala Harris and Biden said, we'll get back to you after we win. Yet they didn't say anything after the fact because they had no intentions of doing that. They just wanted the vote. At the end of the day, if you look at social media today, you will see there are a lot of black people that have had it, right? A lot of us are all feeling the gas prices. We're all feeling the inflation. And at the end of the day, think about it. We all were living a better quality of life under President Trump. And there's a lot of people that are now talking about that openly. And they're saying, look, you might not have liked the mean tweets, but at the end of the day, you like to have a little more cash in your pocket. So I'm glad to see the self-destruction really of the Democrat Party in the black community. And I hope in November we'll see a lot more black people voting for Republicans.
I hope so, too. I keep saying a red tsunami, not just a red wave. Kim Klacik, Will Witt, a pleasure having you both here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.